Hey everybody, welcome to the very first edition of the Gridiron Power Hour After Hours. The show where we can say anything, do anything, and it's a whole bunch of BS going on. I'm Joshua Fitzgerald, and joining me from Zoom is my colleague Luther King. Luther, say hi to the folks on YouTube.
Hello again, people. And yes, why are we here, you ask? We do what we normally do.
Every time.
Yep.
And in today's news of football, we're going to kick it off with a little bit of high school football, but a little bit of news right out of Texas. Apparently, a player from Edinboro High School in Edinboro, Texas, has been arrested and charged with assault after he basically ran over the referee during a playoff game. And as a result, his team has been eliminated from playoff contention.
Because of a forfeit.
Not because that forfeit happened when this player happens to be a defensive player of the year from last season. Decides he wants to attack the referee for no apparent reason.
Hey, Mom.
That, folks, is what you call being a jackass on the grandest stage of your whole fucking career and just went right down the fucking toilet because you want to do something really fucking stupid like attack the referee during the game. And I also learned that this player can face consequences and repercussions for what he did. And it's insane. And I'm telling you, folks, it is mind-boggling. I mean, you're a kid. I get that. You are a defensive back. And you got things going for you. Why on the fucking earth?
I believe a University of Michigan player, a wrestler for the University of Michigan, could be losing his scholarship.
Uh-oh. This should be good.
That was a story from earlier today.
Yep.
Because I believe he got arrested on the campus.
And when have we not seen football players getting arrested on campus for doing stupid shit that they shouldn't be doing?
Okay.
Now, here's another one, and this is from the college football aspect. Ohio State originally was supposed to play against Maryland, but that game got canceled. So instead of playing against the Maryland Terrapins, the Ohio State Buckeyes are playing. They're just playing against the Michigan State Spartans tomorrow. Because apparently, like I said, COVID-19 is a bitch. More players have popped up positive. This is what happens when you don't follow the proper protocols. Things like this can happen, so to speak. And this is ridiculous. So, I don't know what to tell most of you people. And if you're a college game fan, I might get some news from you. Baylor's taking on number 11 Oklahoma tomorrow, and they're 27-3 all-time favorite against Baylor. The last 3 times that Oklahoma City lost, they were against Baylor. So we basically can see how it pans out. But I digress. Let's get to what you normally would follow. And we still got some college ball games. Now, apparently there were some postponements into the next 2 weeks. One of those games happens to be the Vanderbilt Commodores and Auburn. That game will be postponed until December the 19th because some players came down with COVID. As well as you know, once again, we're going to see the first ever female kicker on the Vanderbilt Commodores football team, Sarah Fuller, once again taking the field. It goes to show you, girls can do anything they set their mind to. And it shows. That's because that she's a female doesn't mean you have a right, the nerve, the gall, and the goddamn audacity to knock her down. So let me tell you something. There's a lot of women out there that play football, and they're damn good at it. I happen to know a few of them. And I'm one myself. So don't tell me that a girl can't play football. Because let me tell you this. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new time. A whole new fucking millennium. Because a girl can play football just as well as a guy can. Hell, they've been doing it for the last 40 years. I'm surprised none of you knuckleheads know this shit. Because all you is a bunch of knuckleheads. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So here's another one. If you ever see women playing football, and we do play football, do not confuse us for the Legends Football League because we don't play like they do. What they play is something that a volleyball team will wear. And their helmet is that of a hockey player's. Not a regulation football helmet that will really protect their head from concussions. Skulls getting fresh and all that dang shit? No. Because let me tell you something else. Women and football players is just like any other football player. Everybody has protocols they got to follow, including concussions. CTE is no joke. You think it's funny that somebody has to be reminded of their name every day? That they wake up all night having seizures? Or worse, it messes up with their mental stability? It's not cool. Because many football players have went through CTE. Some try to live that life day by day and trying to get some normality back in it. Others have died because of it after they never were diagnosed at all. So what does that tell you? Number one, rules are for a reason. And same thing with helmets. Number two, it doesn't matter if y'all male or female, boy or girl, Prop 1 or high school, college, or pro or semi-pro. You got to take care of yourself. That's the main thing. And tackle right. Because that's nothing worse than you winded up on a concussion protocol if you tackle wrong with the crown of your helmet or against the crown of their helmet. That is dangerous. And the most fucked up thing that you can do. You don't believe me? I can give you a couple of examples right now. And they're not football players. They're professional wrestlers. One of them happens to be Daniel Bryan, who stepped into the ring after trying to call himself retired after too many headbutts off the top rope that he did. He wound up with CTE, and according to his wife, Brie Bella, every time he falls asleep, he winds up having seizures. And it finds it hard to wake himself up at night. And he's a father of 2 kids now. So what would that tell you? That CTE can happen anywhere and everywhere. Number 2, you can't ask him because he's been dead for 13 years. You have to ask his father and his father's lawyer. And yeah, I'm talking about the name that the WWE had stricken out of their record books. Stricken it out of everything. Took his merchandise off the shelf. I'm talking about Chris Benoit. What happened to him, his wife and son, was not his fault. He didn't know that doing too many headbutts for the last 20 or 30 years of his career would result in him having advanced stages of CTE, which regresses his memory and made his brains resemble that of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. That he didn't know where he was or what he was doing when he suffocated his wife and son with pillows and then hung himself on his exercise equipment. It's a shame. It's a shame in sports. And it's uncalled for. There's no reason for it. It looks like my colleague don't know how dogs, and I guess it's just me. Yeah, another thing in pros. So let's get to the pro football aspect of this thing. So I know many of you are excitedly waiting till Sunday for several matchups. Let's go for the key matchups, the battle of the AFC rivals, the Browns and the Titans. Now remember, the last time these teams have met was last season when the Titans came to Cleveland and run rush shot right over the Browns 43-13, a 30-point deficit. The Browns were embarrassed on their home turf, losing to a Titan squad who is trying to prove to people that 2019 wasn't a fluke. And I know it wasn't a fluke. Heck, I watched all those games. It was no fluke at all. It was back to the days of the 99 Titans and the 08 Titans. We need something like that to get the team ready again. Because as it is, their offense is good, but their defense is, in other words, been busted again. Right now, Jadeveon Clowney and Jadeveon Clowney is on IR still. Jaylen Brown is, of course, done for the season. And so is Dane Cruikshank. And Adoree Jackson, again. The defense has been dinged up badly. They already got rid of the three problems. That would be Kalimi Correa, Jonathan Joseph, and Vic Beasley Jr., who, by all accounts, didn't produce nothing this season so far. All the money that the Titans put for it, and they only had one sack, a couple forced fumbles, and one pick between all three to show for it. And Beasley, on top of that, all the money that the Titans put into him, he doesn't come to the workouts. He doesn't come to the meetings. He holds out for 11 days before he does that. John Robinson actually admitted and he took responsibility for it. But I don't know you folks, but this 2020 Titans team is reminding me of the 2019 Titans team. That, yeah, we're coming back. We got something to show for it, and we got things to prove. So Sunday will become the big test when the Titans offense is going to have to figure out ways to pass the Browns defense led by Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett, remind you, did last season something very bullheaded and shittily stupid that it cost him the season. No, he wasn't injured. He decided to do the only bullheaded rule that you never supposed to do in football. And that means using your opponent's helmet as a weapon and clocking him with it. You guessed it. I'm talking about the Steelers-Browns game where Myles Garrett took Mason Rudolph's helmet and hit him in the head with it and come to blows. According to Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph said the N-word. According to Mason Rudolph, he didn't. So something tells me there's a whole lot of issues going on with that. And I don't think they're all cleared up yet. Let's see. Myles Garrett not only had to sit out the rest of the season, he was fined big for that one. He was kind of lucky they didn't press charges and sent him to jail. In other news, we also got other games coming up, and it's the Rams versus the Cardinals. And the question will be, can the Rams beat the Cardinals? Well, let's take a look at that statistic, shall we? So far, this past Sunday, the Cardinals lost to the Patriots, while the Rams' woe still continues. Denver is without all four of their quarterbacks. relied on them on their wide out to play a quarterback, and he had no clue what he was doing. So let me ask you this, y'all. What the fuck is going on in Denver? That all 40 of your damn quarterbacks are hurt. That you have to use a wide receiver who has no lick of passing time, has no lick of how to be a quarterback, and no lick of the offensive plays where pass and run plays matter. And also on other news, and I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of this from last week, Matt Patricia has been fired from the Detroit Lions after the Thanksgiving game against the Texans. Now, nobody really believed this, and this might come as a shock to most people, but nah, it doesn't surprise me at all. This was bound to happen. I mean, for years, the Detroit Lions have did multi-million screw-ups after another. You don't believe me on multi-million screw-ups? Ask the Texans after they got rid of Bill O'Brien, the guy who was not only the head coach but was also the general manager. And he did several key bullheaded things to do. One of them was trade his best weapon to the Cardinals. They sent DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals for several draft picks. And on top of that, well, what can I say and what can I tell you? It kind of goes to show you that they should have got rid of his ass a long damn time ago. Not only did they got rid of him, they also got rid of their executive president, vice president, who was Bill O'Brien's friend. Bill O'Brien might have had a good choice, but this one from this season was the shittiest choice of all. Why on earth would you trade your main weapon on offense besides Will Fuller the fifth to your NFC rival for somebody else? It's like, oh, I don't know. The Jets actually try to have a win this season? Because as we all now know, the Jets are 0-11. And by statistics of the NFL draft, and I know everybody knows this. I know you know this. I know this. So here it is. By process of elimination, the team with the worst record gets first dibs. And the team with the very best record, who goes on and wins the Super Bowl, picks the last. And then they mix it up. But as it is, the Saints and the Raiders have lost their draft picks in this upcoming draft because of violating COVID-19 protocols. What protocols, you ask? Let me remind you that when COVID-19 broke out, Roger Goodell put COVID-19 protocols in place for all players to be safe. That means everybody has to wear a mask. The coaching staff has to wear them on the sidelines. Players will have to wear them when they take their masks or their helmets off. They'll have to wear them. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but J.J. Watt said, if I have to wear a damn mask, I'm sitting out the whole season. He changed his tune pretty quickly, and you gotta do what you gotta do. And speaking of football players, this is a segment I like to call "What the hell were they thinking?" Now, most of you people had never heard of my last set of podcasts, but if you go on Spotify, I'll send the link down below pretty soon. It'll tell you how to listen, get to it, or download the Spotify app. And it's like this. Brian Urlacher, NFL Hall of Famer from the Chicago Bears, did the most bullheaded things ever. He let his true colors show in a tweet that he sent comparing Kyle Rittenhouse's murder trial to that of Brett Favre's father dying. Are you kidding me? You're gonna compare that 17-year-old dirtbag to the father of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time since Steve the Air McNair, God rest his soul? Are you kidding me? Not only are you a fucking Twitter like you're a damn twat. And you should be shamed. As a matter of fact that he was. Not only did the Bears distance themselves, so did his alma mater, the New Mexico State University Lobos football team. They distanced themselves from him as far away as they could. Because what he says does not condone and congeal with what their practices are. They're a team of diversity. It's a team of unity. Everybody has to come together. But for you to say that Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero? Are you kidding me? Those three guys were unarmed when he shot two of them dead and sent another one to the hospital. They weren't doing nothing. They were peacefully protesting as their First Amendment rights allows them to. He shot them for no reason, and he used a government stimulus check and somebody else to do it. And that other person is also charged for buying for him. Since Kyle Rittenhouse is under the age of 18, he cannot have an AR-15 assault rifle. He's 17. He's going to be charged with a felony, which is owning the AR-15. That's a federal crime. And we got another twit back for you. And I'm not going to get into politics on this channel. And that's not my thing. So I'm not going to. Why? Because if I go into politics, I'm going to be very pissed off. And when I get pissed off, I'm going to be cussing. So fuck politics. They have no place in sports. Something that the 45th president, that blowing bag of orange spray tan motherfucking hot air should have known back in school. So what the fuck? Yeah. Now, here's something else you might want to know. Now, if and only if you want to know. Like I said, then there's the Bills 49ers game from Monday night. Well, the Bills and the Raiders both got decimal records. That's mostly every other team in the NFL. With the exception of the Bills, who are winless. The Jets, who are winless. And by winless, 0-11. Good God. Good God Almighty.
I want to clench it and everything.
Jesus Christ. So, here's another one. And I know most people don't know this, but it kind of makes it upset that many people think that the Titans got off with a slap on the wrist. Not quite. The Titans got fined $350,000 just for their personnel not telling the players that they're not supposed to be practicing anywhere else outside the back to sports center. But the Raiders, like I said, they got hit with a whopping $850,000 fine for not only his coach, not only for the coach, not $150,000 for Coach John Gruden for not wearing his mask, for also letting a unauthorized personnel into the locker room, and for their multiple players not wearing them when they're outside practice. His one of them being Derek Carr, and they did this outside Harrison, Nevada. and their head coach have found out about it. So has Roger Goodell. Now you know. Then, on top of that, also, recently the Saints got fined for basically the same thing that the Saints and the Titans got fined for. But unlike the Titans, the Saints also lost the draft pick because multiple players have been, you guessed it, not wearing a mask and bucking the rules. Guys, put on the fucking mask. If it keeps you from getting COVID, so fucking be it. Just put the fucking thing on. It might be your job, but this is your life here. You're playing with your life. COVID-19 ain't no joke. Just put the mask on. The sooner you put it on, the better off you will be knowing that you'll be protecting not only yourself, but for the people you love and care about. Don't be an idiot. Jesus Christ. And not only that, we also going to go into the hockey aspect of this. Now, everybody knows Mitchell Miller, right? The North Dakota University hockey player who was supposed to be drafted by the Arizona Coyotes. Well, apparently, the Arizona Coyotes came underneath a lot of hot water. Why, you ask? Mainly because, I don't know, his past don't cut up to his ass. And by his past is this. That when he was about 14 years old, he and another student told their classmate who was an African American who was suffering from a learning and mental disability to eat a piece of candy that was sitting in a urinal that they peed on and told him to eat it. And then they beat him up. They beat him up so badly that his mother pressed charges against them and the school. They took this to court. Mitchell Miller and another boy who was with him the time that this happened, well, his friend had issued his apology years ago and is remorseful about it. As for Mitchell Miller, he didn't say it with me, and he wasn't remorseful. In fact, it wasn't until this year, 4 years later, that Mitchell Miller was selected by the Arizona Coyotes. And they didn't know much about his history at all. What they didn't know about him, they said he made a mistake. Well, apparently they were supposed to write this young man letters telling him how sorry they were and give it to him. Mitchell Miller did neither one. He never wrote the letter and he never gave it to him. The mother was angry that the Coyotes had drafted this guy and that the University of North Dakota gave him a scholarship. Well, apparently, an undercover blogging post have figured out what they haven't. They found his court records of what he did. He got charged with assault and intentionally to do bodily harm. Now, those are crimes. And since he was 18, that would have been a felony on his record. Since he's over the age of 17, he could be tried as an adult. Anytime a student beats up another student while in school, regardless of the age, even though they're juveniles underneath the age of 17, pardon me, you have to know. You have to know if you do something like this, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get in trouble. Well, apparently, Mitchell Miller and his friend both got in trouble after they beat up the student. He beat him up so badly, he needed intensive therapy and rehabilitation because it was damn ridiculous. Now, come to find out that the Coyotes and the North Dakota Buffaloes never got the whole story from Mitchell Miller. They had to call the young boy's mother, his victim's mother, and get the story themselves. And after they found out what he had done, they quickly rescind his scholarship and the contract. As rightfully they should have did in the first place, because he didn't deserve it. You don't get things you deserve for doing bad things. So what does that tell you? That you're just a goddamn idiot who refuses to listen to reason. Oh, Lord, but I digress. Sports is for everyone. And let me tell you why. Men, women, boy, girl, no matter what. Sports is sports. You want to do a sport, do something you love. Do you. Do you. Don't let nobody else tell you you can't do it. If you're a girl and you want to be a football player, then play football. If you're a girl and want to play baseball, then do that too. Boxing, do it. MMA, do it. Muay Thai, do it. NASCAR racing, do it. Hockey, do that too. It's not just a male sport anymore. Women can be doing this. And women have been doing this for over 40 years. And they continue to do it to this day. And like I told you before during the beginning of this podcast, I know several women football players. I'm one my damn self. I own my own team and I play on it. The two people I know of, but I won't bring up on here because of personal reasons. I do not want you to try to go hassle them. They own teams in the WFA and they play on them too. And it says for the Women's Football Alliance. And no, it's not the lingerie league, so get your damn heads out the motherfucking gutter. Quit thinking with your dicks. Shit. That's what's gonna piss everybody off. You comparing women who's wearing full padded gear to those wearing uniforms that resemble that of a beach volleyball team and a hockey helmet. Owned by a man who rewards players for doing bad things. Gives them cigars and booze and money incentives for hurting people. That's not the way you play football, and that's not the way you play at all. You got to do it right. You got to do it all. I'm not going to even mention that asshat's name because he will piss me off to the point that I will take my own computer and toss it. But I'm not going to. I paid too much money for this computer. So, it is what it is. I'm going to let you know one damn thing. I don't ever, and I do mean ever, want to hear that man's name. Or anything associated with the LFL anyway. And I'm going to tell you also this. Like I said, women are playing men's sports too. Heck, women's been playing, like I said, women have been playing football for 40 years. What are you going to do now? You can't say boo about it. Women are playing football. We're going to do us. If you've got a problem with it, all I can say is this. You try to tell a woman that she don't belong on the football field, she's going to tell you, put on a uniform, put on a helmet and pads, step up to the damn grass on that 50-yard line. Let's see if you got what it takes to tell that to a woman in her face. Because I can guarantee you right now, they're going to lay your ass out if you do. Don't look at me. You brought this on yourselves with your sexist remarks. Don't do this shit no more. I mean it. It's hurtful. It's rude and downright disrespectful. And I know many of you were brought up to be better than that. Good God. You guys wake up and get your heads out the damn sand. Stop being sexist and living in the Stone Age. Seriously. You're gonna get cussed out. And I don't know. Maybe here's another one. Carson Wentz actually took accountability for the struggles of why they were on a 3-game losing streak while the Eagles were sitting at 3-7-1. Yeah, but he had a whopping 15 picks. Meanwhile, the Jets' woes still continue while they're sitting at 0-11. She's Louise. 0-11. Wow. So, like I said, if you like college football, here's a few changes that happened. The first change was the Alabama A&M and Ohio State game. That game got canceled after Alabama A&M had shared their test results. So the Ohio State Buckeyes are playing against, of all people, the Michigan State Spartans. I mean, a team's a team. You gotta play, right? Then there's the UT Volunteers versus the Florida Gators. Now, the UT Wolves also continue as they're sitting at 2-6. Florida is on the top of their game and eligible for bowl contention with a win in the SEC East. And also in other news, after 7 years of being with the Commodores, the Vanderbilt Commodore football team and Derek Mason have parted ways. And I've read a lot of YouTube comments about that lately. It's not about him being fired. It's about the female kicker, Sarah Fuller. Now, first of all, Sarah, you do you. Don't let these guys tell you that you can't do it. You're a good woman. Do you. 1, it's not a publicity stunt. 2, she did it because she wanted to. And I know y'all going to give her that right. So don't say nothing bad about this young lady because she ain't got nothing to you. And for you idiots, you pigs, you jerks, you pincha punta queta wrong. Sorry. I'm trying not to cuss in Spanish either. That's another bad habit of mine. Who refuse to acknowledge that a woman can do whatever a man do and do exceptionally well? You're a joke. You're a punk and you're a chump. And that's all I got to say about that. End of story. So, I guess I'm going to have to wrap this up because my colleague had left me in the lurch. So, and until next Friday, I'll see you at 10 for another episode of Grim Power Hour After Hours. This is Justin Fitzgerald signing off.